Hey guys, Andy here, and it's been a while since we looked at anything from Fractal, but that's all about to change. This is the Fractal Torrent, and frankly, there's nothing quite like it on the market. Let's do this.
Are you a champion in the making?
Yeah, I mean, my mum always calls me a little champ, so...
Then you need the new Corsair Champion Series K70 10 keyless keyboard to heighten your gameplay and really kick the competition's arse.
So I'll be an even better gamer if I get one?
Yes, thanks to the 8000Hz hyperpolling, a durable aluminium frame and a tournament mode switch that disables the macros and lighting for those intense gaming sessions. You'll be tearing up the battlefield in no time.
Wow, I can't wait to show everyone my sick moves. Yeah!
No, stop that now, and click the link in the description below. Seriously, stop dancing.
Fractal's always been a brand that's kind of used the same design in the past and just expanded upon it. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but having something unique and interesting once in a while doesn't go amiss either. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for quality products that we've seen before from Fractal, but I just wanted them to kind of shake things up once in a while, and boy, have they done that. The Torrent is a completely new design that puts a huge focus on airflow without compromising on using the latest or largest components on the market. Whether you're into conventional air cooling or going for a full balls to the wall custom loop, this might just be the case to go for. Available in black, grey or white and a choice of different tints, there's even a full-on RGB model. Prices start at $189.99, which does put it, I guess, at the more expensive end of the mid-tower scale, but it does come with huge amounts of space and includes 5 fans, giving you some extra added value. If you're wanting to go for the RGB version, this swaps out the two 180mm Dynamic X2 fans in the front and the three 140mm fans in the bottom for Prisma ARGB fans, and will find you paying a $40 premium, though if you were buying the fans separately afterwards, you'd be looking at around another $140 instead. The main competitors for this case are the 5000D Airflow from Corsair, the Silent Bass 802 from Be Quiet, and the LANcool 2 Mesh RGB. And while these are all slightly cheaper, they only come with 3 included fans and also are slightly smaller. Design wise, it really does break the conventional mould of either having glass or mesh. Instead, Fractal have gone for more of an abstract look with these heavy duty plastic fins, which not only look great in their gunmetal finish, but also allow massive amounts of airflow to pass through. The whole front is broken up with a brushed aluminium Fractal logo, which, while fairly large, doesn't look overly big or overstated. For connectivity, there's 2 USB 3.0 ports which are spaced apart, so there are no conflicts like you'd get with larger USB devices, like my handy GeForce GTX flash drive, which always seems to get in the way, but admittedly does look pretty damn cool. There's also 2 audio jacks and a USB 3.1 Gen 2 Type-C port with fast charging. The front panel can be easily removed by pulling towards the top of it and includes a nylon dust filter clipped onto place for easy cleaning. Once the panel's removed, it gives us a first glimpse of those mammoth 180mm fans, but with the installation of the included fan brackets, it gives you the flexibility to use 3 120mm or 3 140mm fans instead. On a side note, is it me or does it kind of have a nostalgic vibe to it, like the good old days when every case had large fans at the front? Maybe that design is potentially making a comeback. Other included cooling are the 3 140mm fans in the bottom of the case to give even more intake, and again, these can be changed out for 3 120mm fans or 2 180mm fans. Underneath is more than enough space for airflow, and you also find a removable dust filter which spans the whole bottom of the case and can be removed from the front. What makes this case design interesting to me is that it kind of fits anywhere. It works well in an office, while the RGB version looks gamery and like it means business, and making a product fit 2 markets can be quite difficult, especially when trying to create something that doesn't look like every other case on the market. With the ARGB fans in place, I'm going to admit, things look absolutely amazing. It's not kind of too in your face through that front grille, but it's enough to be able to appreciate the colours, which of course can be fully controlled through your motherboard. With the fact that Fractal's Prisma fans have daisy chain ARGB connectors, there's also no need for an extra hub, which of course keeps cable mess to a minimum. For the fans, there is an included Nexus 9P Slim Pwm Fan Controller, and as the name would suggest, it has space for 9 fans, meaning that even if you fully populated the case with 3 fans at the front, 3 at the bottom and either a 120 or 140mm fan at the rear, you'd still have more than enough headers for, say, a water cooling pump, and still have a spare header on top of that. No matter what version of case you go with, the 180mm fans will operate at a maximum 1200 RPM, while the 140mm fans operate at a maximum of 1700 RPM. The panels on both sides are tinted, though the one on the cable side is darker to hide any cable mess, and simply pulls towards you to remove from their latches. The panels can also be screwed down from the top if you're travelling with your system. The inside of the Torrent is extremely spacious, with room for up to eTeknix boards, as well as the largest GPUs and tallest CPU coolers. There's also plenty of space for water cooling, with room for up to a 420mm rad in the front and the same in the bottom. Obviously, if you are using both, thickness will come into play, though a single 420mm rad should be more than enough for most people. So one thing that did put me off with this case is the amount of holes and grommets in the motherboard tray. It just looks a bit too much, but for a very good reason, as there's multiple spaces to mount a reservoir, and to be honest, once your components are installed, well, you won't even remember how it looked. It's also worth noting that if you are using an eATX motherboard, the rubber grommets are going to be partially blocked, but there's still enough room to feed even the thickest of cables through. Now, one thing you'll notice about the layout is the PSU location. It's at the top, again, like the good old days. To gain access to it, you simply remove 2 thumb screws at the back of the case and remove the top cover. Inside, you'll find enough room to fit a 230mm long PSU and a strategically placed Velcro cable tie to keep things in check. There's also plenty of room for cables down the back, ready for your best attempt at cable management. Also on the PSU cover is a small RGB strip, but it's up to you if you want to connect it or not. You'll also find tons of honeycomb holes under the PSU, as well as the whole rear of the case, kind of being like a giant cheese grater. There are ventilation holes literally anywhere and everywhere possible, and I kinda like that. To get the most functionality from the Torrent, you might be looking to mount your GPU vertically, and with the purchase of the Flex B20 GPU mount, it's a breeze. I do feel though, with the width, a vertical set of expansion slots could have been possible, just like we've seen on the Corsair 4000 series and above. I'm not quite sure why it wasn't done here. Back to those who may be looking at water cooling in this case, you'll be pleased to see the inclusion of a fill port in both 21mm and 25.4mm sizes at the top of the case, but sadly no drain port at the bottom. But that's nothing a step drill bit and a piece of sandpaper can't fix, though I'm probably being a little bit overcritical here. For storage, there's space behind the motherboard tray for 2 3.5-inch hard drives, though if wanting to install SSDs here, you will need some kind of an adapter. Though towards the front of the case, we do actually find 4 SSD trays, which should in theory be more than enough for most users. Having a clean looking system is one thing, but what separates the pros to the noobs all comes down to cable management. Well, you'll be pleased to know that Fractal have done an amazing job here with a whopping 32mm of space for cable routing, as well as having kind of a ton of handy features to assist you. Firstly, there's the small plastic clips that act as a raceway with 3 included Velcro straps. Along with this, there are 2 more Velcro straps for your power supply cables like the chunky 24 pin. And lastly, there's a total of 16 tie-down loops for use with cable ties, or for those who have watched a Verge video or two, tweezers. Fractal have even taken this case one step further with 4 nicely positioned Velcro straps on the outside of the case. This is for tying down your kettle lead and any other rear I/O cables you can fit in. I mean, this is a genius idea, and I get it with the PSU now being at the top, but why no one ever had a kind of thought like this sooner, I really don't know. Even if the PSU was at the bottom, having USB cables, Ethernet and all those other cables neatly tied together, it just makes sense. So with all of these things to assist me, how was it building inside the Torrent? In all honesty, it was super simple. Having sheer amounts of space to work in, having the PSU compartmented away and the kind of extra space on that cable side, it just made things easy. The whole build took around 10 to 15 minutes, including cable management, thanks to the various tidying options at my disposal, and in all honesty, I think it came out looking really nice. The cable cutouts were all positioned nicely, meaning that even the biggest and, well, frankly ugliest looking cables like the dreaded USB 3 header, they were still nicely positioned as best, I guess, as they could be. With a modest ATX based system, there's still a ton of room for decoration, as I know lots of people may be tempted to put characters or figurines inside their cases these days. Weirdos. So it all seems like we have a great contender for those wanting the very best airflow without compromising, which is exactly what Fractal set out to do. There are some drawbacks though, and the first being the price. Even compared to some of the best selling cases on the market from Corsair, Be Quiet and Lee, I get it. as this does have a lot more space in it compared to them, but how many users will actually need that extra space? Also, for the price, I would have liked to have seen a vertical GPU mount as standard, or seeing the Flex B20 bracket, even without the riser, being included instead. All of that aside though, building in a torrent was an absolute pleasure, and the end result looks absolutely amazing. I love the fact that with the dynamic fans, it looks kind of premium, professional and sleek looking, while the RGB version looks more gamer focused. In terms of airflow, it ticks all the right boxes, and though a little on the expensive side, you do get a lot of fans included. Though including the last 120mm or the 140mm fan, come on, that wouldn't have gone amiss, would it? Moving forward, I'd love to see something similar, but maybe in like a smaller form factor, even if it is just a smaller mid-tower with smaller fans to condense things down for a lower price. Or what I'd really like to see, a mini ITX version with a single 180mm fan in the front and maybe 2 fans at the bottom. That would be seriously cool. You'd have, I don't know, like a pint-sized powerhouse with extreme levels of airflow. In all honesty, I would literally go out and buy that. So what do you guys think of the latest creation from Fractal? Does it have enough to make you put down almost $200 or £200 on a case? Or is it just that little bit too expensive? Let me know in the comments section below. And as always, if you like this video, you know exactly what to do, and I'll see you in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.